Oh God, purple.
Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Drinking venom drip, fang gripping her lip. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Drinking venom drip, fang gripping her lip. Hallelujah, yo, cobra moving slow. Strike you with the glow, deadly as you know. Poison to the touch, rub-a-dub-a-dub. The sea gave up its dead, overflowing cup. Hades, extra love, Thanos and Athena. Dance with Medea, the voices in the wind. Hear now while you listen, Q-sip Medea. Shouldn't mess with this, my girl is poisonous. Purple rain and kiss, Vampirilla lives. Elvira, that's my chick. Dragon venom drip, fang grip in her lip. Catherine of the wheel, Athena Medea. Hot purple triple beamer, sticky icky creeper. The muse dance with Mia, Sibylline Medea. Harvesting the dreamers. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Dragon venom drip, fang grip in her lip. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Dragon venom drip, fang grip in her lip.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon. This is the savior from the bed of the muse. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for coming. We have an outstanding lineup for you. We're going to jump right here in the beginning and talk to Gnostic Informant about his recent interview with Danny Jones. And we're going to, after that, oh God, I've got, tonight, it's going to be one of those resetting the paradigm nights. I love this stuff. I absolutely love this stuff. Isn't it? Hail Satan. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Let's go ahead and start off. And by the way, I want to say before we bring on, before we go to Neil's bar, I want to bring on for you some thanks tonight to the people who have been working, both for and you and for Lady Babylon, the people in the transcripts. People don't realize this, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes who are working hard, making transcripts of all of these, of all the Lady Babylon series. Oh God, so you can go back and access the Greek. Oh, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Those are the people working on that Lady Babylon side. There is a Discord associated with them. They have a museum for you of sources. What I'll do is when we're at and you, I'll post that. But tonight we're in the bed of the muse. I want to thank all the music people who have come. I want to thank Teddy Bass, and I want to thank Cult Examiner and Sirius and all that gang who are doing their videos. Oh God, they're mesmeric. Sit there. I dare you. Sit there on the throne. Sit there on the throne and watch what happens. Who's got bananas? All right. What do I have right up top for you? Satanic congregation, I understand our numbers are growing, and I understand your time is precious, and I want to honor that. So I'm not going to give you a bunch of BS tonight. I'm going to hit you with the good stuff. Talking about sources, we're going to go to Gnostic Informant, who had an interview with Danny Jones. Please bring up Gnostic Informant.
What's going on,
Neil?
everybody?
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Just hanging out in the, it's the muse. That's the bed of the muse. That's where I'm at. This is where we go. We entheogens. We drink our cookie on.
Okay.
Dionysus. This is the house of Bacchus. The house of Bacchus.
What happened? What happened to you? You've turned into light. I love the interview as I've seen so far. I love it. Unfortunately, I had to prep today. So for those of you who don't know, Neil's interview with Danny Jones just came out, and it's doing smashingly.
It is.
Yeah, say something about it, Neil. Throw us into the, into the pot, and let's get down and dirty.
I had to follow your bit from 7 days ago, and I was like, I don't know, there's no way I'm gonna be able to compete with that, with the fire that you brought. But apparently, the algorithm is favoring my video just as much, and it's up there. So let's see what happens. I'm thinking maybe combined, you and I can get Danny combined to 10 million views by the end of the year.
Okay. That's a prediction. And you know me, I don't do predictions. I hope you're right, because
Never know.
the more people that this reaches, the more people that get this information, the better we have done as an ancient museum. Right? That we get them, we feed them. I noticed in your interview that you're direct with the sources. I like that a lot. You guys went back. You went back to the Perseus, Tufts, the Oxford Greek lexicon.
Let me tell him that story. So
yeah, go ahead.
He was asking me questions about some of the controversies surrounding your interview and the criticisms you got. He says the big one that he was getting from people, people were emailing him, messaging him, leaving comments, saying that Amon is wrong about lace days. Amon is wrong about lace days. So I said, all right, well, let's test it out. Let's look it up. So we went on the Perseus Tufts, and we went into Alice. We asked Alice in Wonderland, what does lace days mean? And we found out that it means pirate and buccaneer. And by the way, we were in Tampa Bay, home of the Buccaneers. So we were in Tampa Bay, home of the lace days, baby. So we found, I showed Danny how to use Alice, and he was impressed.
Fantastic. So it's real Bacchic stuff. And I noticed then you went to some of the early Christian sources. I don't want to spoil it because people want to see it, but you did some early Christian stuff, and you were talking, oh God, Epiphanius or somebody, and about all those sects. Neil, you got something about Christian sects. You like all those different groups, don't you? They go back to the Nicolaitans, you know what I mean? And what they were doing. And you were talking about the gospel of these people, right? And what does Mary do to Jesus? Please, in YouTube friendly and educationally. Education. Let's be educational. This is Lady Babylon. It's a place of the museum. It's education. Tell me with that kind of feel. Tell me what Mary and Jesus are doing up on the mountain.
So Epiphanius lists about 7 different groups. He lists the Borborites, the Zacchaeans, the Socratites, and he says he needs a whole list of these groups from all different areas, from Asia Minor, Syria, Greece, Rome, North Africa, all these different areas, and they're all these different names. They're named after their leader. Whoever their leader's name is, they're Zacchaeans or whatever. And he says that they all have in common a gospel. And the name of the gospel is called The Questions of Mary. And he says in this gospel, Jesus takes Mary up on the mountain and says, and then what he does is he performs a rite, some sort of magical rite where he produces a woman out of the side of his rib. So he becomes a male and female at the same time, and he produces the woman. Then he goes and continues to have intercourse with this said woman, produces sperm from this, and then hands it over to Mary and says, if you want to make it into the kingdom of heaven, you must drink my blood and eat my flesh. This is my sarx that I give to you. Mary goes, oh my God, I can't handle it. She falls down on the ground. He picks her up and he says, what? Don't you have any faith, woman? It sounds like something Jesus would actually say too. That's the crazy part about this gospel.
Okay. Now here's my question. So you can poo-poo that and say, oh, it's the certain group of Christians writing about another group of Christians and poo-pooing what they're doing, and so it's obviously exaggerated. Can you believe, though, that so many of these sources all link up and show us? We know from other sources the Ophites are drinking semen, right? We know that for a fact. The Ophites are a Christian sect, right? They're the serpents. I love the name, man. Like, imagine if
And the
What are you?
Nazi's too.
What are you? What are you? I'm a Sibylline serpent. That's what the Christians were calling
Right.
themselves, right? Oh my God, Ophites, and the ones on the outside of the Ophites were like, "Oh no, we can't do that." So Mary is consuming the hyma of Jesus. That's fantastic. Tell me something. I want to say something about Danny really quick. Danny Jones, right? Did you enjoy the? Wasn't it great? I mean, I personally think he's a fantastic interviewer, and I couldn't have had a better time during an interview. A lot of times interviews are a pain, right? And people are just they're not good at it. I thought Danny was magnifico. What did you how did you enjoy your interview?
He was so easy to talk to because he's he you know, you can tell he's genuinely trying to find out, you know, he's trying to learn about these sources, he's trying to find things out. And it was so easy to talk to this guy because all of his questions were well thought out, and it was a smooth. The whole 3 hours 4 hours actually flew by. Like it felt like 1 hour. It felt like so quick. Yeah, Danny was great.
Yeah, fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to say one thing, and then I'm going to jump to tonight's talk. And if you want to hang around later, dial up. If you need to go about your business, go about your business. But I'll leave you with a comment. What do you want to say?
Yeah, so we ended up talking about the different different things that we find in Christianity that seem to mimic a lot of these mystery religions of the time period. For example, in the Hilaria ritual in Rome, also down in Egypt for Attis and Osiris, and it's in the same week that the Adonia is going on over in Cyprus, and there's also a Great Dionysia they call, or no, rural Dionysia, which is going on at that week. So they have the rural Dionysia and they have the city Dionysia in the wintertime. The rural Dionysia happens in the spring. So there's this spring equinox festival sprouting up, and they all have this thing in common where a god is dead, mourned over, and then rises. And in the case of the Attis ritual, they bury this tree, a pine tree. They bury the pine tree. They mourn for 3 days. They even have initiation ceremonies where the eunuchs are initiated and becomes priests of Magna Mater. And then they celebrate the Hilaria, which is in Latin means rejoicing, and that's the resurrection of Attis. And this happens, and it's a 3-day period from the day they bury the tree to the day they rejoice. Is a 3-day on the third day, just as Christ does. By the way, Osiris has 2 women that go to his tomb at the end of the story, Nephthys and Isis, just as Jesus has Mary and Martha go to the tomb at the end. So we're talking about all this stuff lining up. Epiphanius he's an informant. You got to give him that title. He's snitching on himself. He starts talking about all these other Dusharis and Ion being born of a virgin at the winter solstice. Epiphanius was an informant. You got to give him credit where credit's due.
That's why it doesn't surprise anybody when you walk into a 2nd century synagogue and you see that it's got Ion on the wall, right? It doesn't surprise anybody in a bunch of Greek. Yeah, no doubt. I loved your Iao comments today. And what you were doing was, you can't undo that. Once somebody has seen, oh, guess what? The Bible, the Old Testament, well, the Torah was written in the 3rd century BC, and before that, there's Jack for any of this. Neil, when you go in and you say, where are the quotes? Give me all the quotes in Hebrew that they're passing down from they're not. It doesn't exist. You mean Judaism was created in the 3rd century? Oh, I love the fact that with the Dead Sea Scrolls. One thing I want to make, I want people to understand is you never find those just Hebrew things sitting around because they don't exist. You always find them with the Greek that they're copying from. So
you know what I saw? You know what I saw when I was in Nazareth? I was in Nazareth, and I was on a dig. There was a dig there, and we were walking through, and there was mosaics on the ground, and there's Orpheus, the biggest mosaic of all. There's a Dionysus one, a horn Dionysus one. That was a small one. The biggest one I saw was Orpheus with his lyre, and it was huge, and it was a first century, and I say something it might be second century, but it's first century AD, second century AD, somewhere in that time period, and it's Orpheus. And by the way, also what they found in this place is the golden Orphic tablets. This is Nazareth. So Jesus grew up in this city, completely Hellenized, complete Greek mosaics all over the place.
Right.
There's a theater there too.
Yeah, and about his language, people always ask, what language did Jesus speak? And some say Aramaic or Syriac or any of the Hebrew. Right, it's all the regular variety. You got to realize, kid was sent to Egypt. Where did he probably go in Egypt? Wherever he went, they were speaking Greek. Nobody ever asked, why doesn't Jesus come back from where he was raised speaking Egyptian, doing the Egyptian thing? Because they didn't friggin' speak Egyptian in Egypt. They spoke Greek. And who is the they that I'm talking about? All the educators. You can sit around and come up with phony ideas about what was this and what was that. The fact is, through the museum in Alexandria came the greatest work from antiquity, the greatest intellectual work. All of the great doctors come through. Alexandrian physicians, Hellenistic physicians, who are doing for the first time, they're doing regular autopsies. They're doing regular anatomical dissections. Not only that, they're doing vivisections. They get a criminal, take them apart. I saw a description of a dude's peristalsis. That's the motion of your intestines, and the doctors had just cut this guy open, and they're looking at it, and they're following the movement, and they're saying it was obviously X, Y, and Z, and they're studying digestion. That's all from Alexandria. That's the Egypt that Jesus went to, and when he comes back, and everybody there thinks he's a brainiac, it's because of that education. So, what language is Jesus speaking? I dare you to give me one friggin' quote in Hebrew, Aramaic, Syriac, anywhere. No. All of his quotes are Greek. Surprise, surprise. People don't understand it. Judaism is an invention of the Hellenic world. Moses is Musaeus, and it is an Orphic, Saturnian, or satanic religion. Sun, moon, stars, dawn
By the
bringers.
Way, Orpheus. And we have the Derveni Papyrus, which is it's the one the actual physical copy, not the text dated to. The text is dated to the 6th century BC. The physical fragments 4th century BC. The physical copy of it, not the dating of the text. The text itself 6th century BC. But in this text, Orpheus is called theologian, and he's constantly revealing. It's the word apocalypse. He's the apocalypse, the revealer. It's an apocalyptic genre, which is Orphic by nature. And this is what sprouts up in Alexandria during this time period, during this Hellenistic era. These Alexandrians who are Greek-speaking Jewish people, it brought to Alexandria after Ptolemy wins a war in Gaza against Demetrius. This is real history. Look it up. Anyways, they start talking, making up stories. They start writing stories about this guy named Moses, who they say, and this is the earliest sources we got from Aristobulus, from Hecataeus, from all these early sources, say that this is Musaeus, and he was either in some sources he's either the father of Orpheus or the son of Orpheus, depending on which one's talking about it. Either way, they're connecting him to Orpheus, and they're claiming Orpheus is this psalmist. The word psalm means played by a harp, sung by a harp. So Orphism, apocalypticism, theology itself is an Orphic Pythagorean, sort of genre that we get in Alexandria. And that's
salvation.
It becomes Yahwism. It's where you get Yah-oh Even Macrobius
Right.
is citing. What does Macrobius cite when he talks about Yao? Orpheus.
Yeah. And remember, you said today you were going to say it as I was watching your interview. You mentioned Plutarch, and you were going to say that Plutarch says Judaism is an offshoot of Bacchic worship. He says it in antiquity. You know what that is? That is a first-hand witness. That is an eyewitness. You cannot get better historical evidence than an eyewitness who's watching what's going on and reporting it.
You know what else Plutarch does? Plutarch
Yeah.
cites Hecataeus of Abdera,
Mm.
who lived 4 centuries before him, 4, maybe 5 centuries before him. Yeah, Plutarch is late 1st, early 2nd. Hecataeus is 4th century, or late 4th century, early 3rd century BC. All right. So yeah, they're 3 centuries away from each other, 3 or 4 centuries away from each other. He cites Hecataeus of Abdera. You know what he says? He says the Egyptians use the term Ammon, not just for the one god, but for any of the gods, and they use it as a form of address to close an incantation. He says the word Amen it comes from the god Ammon, who is the representative of the cosmos itself, the hidden one. Yeah. So when you call Amen to somebody, you're calling to the hidden one. You're closing your incantation. Right. Plutarch cites Hecataeus of Abdera, who he says told him all this. By the way, before Hecataeus of Abdera, nobody ever uses Amen in any sources. Ever.
So, right. So
there's no Ugaritic text that say Amen after a prayer ever.
You know whose lips produce Amen over and over and over again is Jesus the Christ, baby. You get it? He's in there.
Saba Cathoni.
Yeah. You got it. Okay. Perfect entry to tonight's talk. Thank you, Neil. I'm going to pull you off. And if you want to come back later, feel free. Everybody, take a look at Neil's interview with Danny Jones. Love it. Love it. Okay. Let's hit the Hail Satan, brother. Hit the slides for me. Let's go. People, we want to dive in deep tonight, and I want to start here. Oh, God, I want to start it. Does that mean, do they have to do something every time I say that? Are you ready? Onax puthonos medeon hecate bole manti. Oh, God. What was that you just said? Oh, Onyx. Oh, Lord of Pytho. You who rule, who strike from afar. You were mantic. What are we doing? Oh, God, we're addressing God, right? Okay, I wanted to bring you that because that's the introduction that we've got. What is this from? This is the Orphic Argonautica. Okay, the Orphic Argonautica, and people will debate the dates. The fact is, we don't know. And linguistically, some people will argue this thing has to be later. It has to be in the Anno Domini range. Some people say, look, it's Orphic and it's probably 5th, 4th century BC, right? So, okay, does it matter where it falls? Sure it does, evidence-wise. It matters where it falls. But what we're going to do is we're going to glean. Tonight, we're going to glean from the vocabulary, and I'm going to show you some things that you didn't think. You didn't think. I want you to look at that third word in the middle there, Medeon. That's where we're going to get the Medusa. This is addressing Apollo, the Pythian lord, the Pythian Wanox. This is late. Put your mind. What's a Wanox? A Wanox is a Bronze Age chief. Bronze Age chief. This is at a time when you have chiefs and you have potnia, you have queens, chiefs and queens. Yeah, okay. And Apollo is one of them, and he's the one who shoots from afar, the mantic one, the one who works on this. Go, Chewie, hit the next one. Watch this, people. What is the Medea? Oh God, a guardian, a ruler. You thought Medusa was guardian. Think these are priests, right? A guardian, a ruler, right? Always of Zeus. Okay, fantastic. Ruling from Ida. He's that one who establishes the rulership, right? Oh, they use it of Apollo. If you just keep going down, look at who they're going to be using it for. And then you get to number 2 and you get, the feminine form, Medusa. That is just a participle, people, of the verb medo. Right? This is a Greek thing. I'm going to take you back. By the way, people have been asking. The surprise tonight is the what do they call them? The Anunnaki. Okay. Oh goodness, we get to see what they actually were. Were they UFO people and aliens? I'm sorry. I know people are disappointed. They wanted me to talk about them as aliens. No, there's a much more, realistic, scientific, and anthropological explanation for them. And we just look at the text. The text tell us who they are. Who were they? They're a real historical people. And we get to meet them tonight. That was a little bit of the surprise. Thank you, Satanic Congregation, for hanging in there. Purple. Let's go. Hit us with the next one. Boom. Yep. And I wanted you to see, what is that Medusa? Oh, go back. I'm sorry. Go back to the Medusa above. Boop, right there. Thank you, Chewy. Look at for the Medusa. That's the guardian goddess. And many of you are going to see the name Aphrodite right after it. You're going to be confused because the little bit that you know of Greek history, you're getting through mythology. That's where it's just being transmitted. And mythology's turned into entertainment, just like the stage has turned into entertainment. You little consuming. Don't say that. Everything is profane, but it had a sacred intent. The theater today, movies, cinema, that's profane. It is entertainment. In antiquity, they're doing it to purify, and they're not doing it for cash. By the way, we're still not monetized. We're still not taking any rewards for what I'm showing you because the devil hates that. Fantastic. You know what? Let them have it. I love it. I love the fact that we have an audience that, we don't have to watch commercials. Do you want me to advertise something to you? No, I don't want to do that either because you know what? I've watched the back alleys. I know what they do in them when they're trying to get things. It's shameful. Okay, let's not do it. You're not going to see any, paid me $20 and you can say what you want, right? Oh, yeah. It's disgusting. This is the temple of the muse, baby. Let's hit it. Let's hit that one. What about these goddesses? Look, Aphrodite is your Medusa. What? Aphrodite is your Medusa? You thought you knew Aphrodite. You do not. You do not know the mother of the Roman people. You do not. Look at her. Who's after Aphrodite? Mnemosyne. And who is that? That means memory in Greek. And everybody knows. Who's the mother of memory? Danny Jones was asking me, what is a god? And I said, these are powers. Think of Eros. Think of Mnemosyne, memory. Do you know who memory is? She's gorgeous. She's the mother of the muses. Oh, and it doesn't even penetrate. It bounces off your uninitiated head, and it doesn't penetrate. That's why we need the Christos. Tonight is about the Christos, and she or he. And who's in charge? Love it. Hit me with the next. Hit me with the next text. This is wonderful. Wait, go back to the Medusa. I just want to see of memory. And as you follow down, you're going to see the immortal one, Athena, right? Athena is there, right? And who else? Artemis. Artemis is there. They are all, what you're seeing is the band of women who are those queens from the Bronze Age. Artemis. Do you know what Artemis does? She hunts. She kills. Her bands of followers will kill you. Yeah. She's known to strike from afar. She became a symbol of the huntress who takes your life if you're a woman. Isn't that neat? Who is that force? The force that takes your life if you're a woman. She's called Lucifera. She's given that title of light bringer. Right? Lucifera. You mean the devil was female before he was male? Yep. Do you have a problem with that? It's what they call in Greek typhue, two-natured. Love it. Oh, God. Absolutely love it. All right. Let's go. Those were Bronze Age goddesses we just got into there with the Medusa. Let's keep going. This is just, I wanted to show you the verb, right? To protect or rule over. And then you can trace the history of it. That's fantastic. Go to the next one. For people in history who think, you know, hey, women did not rule. The name there is that they did. The name tells you otherwise, to the unreality of what the historians give you. Because historians suck and do not work with primary sources. We had an ancient historian who came into the classics department, and he was awful, and everybody knew it, right? Everybody knew it. His philological, his translation capacity was garbage. It was about where for an entry-level graduate student should be. Why is that? I don't hold it against him, but because he was a historian, he wasn't a classical philologist. He was a historian. But here's the problem. If you can't read those sources, you don't know what the hell's going on. You don't. All your ideas, you guys know, I don't give you ideas. I give you sources. Let's go back to the source. This is too pretty to lose tonight in my pontification. Nunde epe ero foitos sapentato Deos oistros. Here's that oistress that Dan McClellan doesn't like. Look at the end of the first line. Oistress, Dan. Now watch. Dan, I know this is up there, and I know you can identify it's Greek. I'm talking to Dan McClellan, right? I know you can identify this as Greek, but I know you cannot read it. I know you can't. I know you can't. And it shows the extent of where the Bible education is able to take you. It's not able to take you very far. Here we're going to go a little bit deeper. What is this? This is Orphic Argonautica, man. And this is Orpheus. Look what I've brought you tonight. Shame on you, satanic congregation. Shame on you. This one's for you tonight for not knowing that I would bring you the best. Just a little bit. I took some too. Here's one for me. Oh, 2. I gave it 2. I had to. Okay, let's go to the next one. That one. Yeah. So what happens? This is Orpheus talking to you. And what does he say? What does he say? Now's the time when the estrus, the mania, it's burning. It's burning. It's flying through the air. It's burning my brain. And what is it doing? It's separating me from my bodily frame and shooting me up on wings to Uranus. You can learn from my voice all the things that are hidden. Sorry, a little dramatic, but that was my translation of Orpheus. And he's telling his audience there, he's saying, look, this is what's going on, and this is the state of oistress. Give me the next slide, because I think we have the oistress. Was I smart enough? Oh, I just wanted to see, what does the oistress do? It wanders in the air. It wanders. Huh. Air wandering. Fantastic. Watch this. What is oestrus? Because some of you have come in new. I know a lot of satanic congregations, you know what the oestrus is, right? We all knew. And Dan said, he was like, this is something, hubba, hubba, right? And everybody in here was like, yeah, oh God, you're going to get it, right? Oestrus. Here's our gadfly. Here's our gadfly. It's something that stings, and you'll see it metaphorically, right? Something that will drive you mad. That's how this word is used, to drive a person mad. That's what oestrus does. That's what the prophet must have. It's what the prophet must have in order to teach you. That's why I go to the very bottom. What does it say? What does it say? Any vehement desire and the frenzy and the madness. Look at the last two lines of that paragraph in section 2, Roman numeral number 2. Madness and frenzy. Look where it's being used. It's being used of the menads. It's being used of the menads. Oh, okay. So take it down. It's an idea floating in the mind of the speakers of Greek, which by the 1st century Anno Domini, when Jesus is around, is everybody. Is everybody. Okay? Especially in the East. You know, they're still holding out with the Latin, right? They haven't swamped. Greece hasn't swamped. They're still fighting. You know, stuff hasn't switched over where it's just government stuff, right? It's not, you know, they're still working. But in the East, the Greek is everywhere. It's just too bad. The Eastern Mediterranean, people think it's the boundaries of the Mediterranean where the action is. No, it's the sea. It's the Mediterranean Sea, that thalassa, that's the source of everything, right? That Greek is spreading through the islands. Oh, God. Oh, it's gorgeous. Let's keep going. Back to the text. Okay, I'm going to give people this thing. Thank you. Look what's happening, people. What does Orpheus say he has for you? He says he has chresmus. Those are oracles. Oracles. Oracles that are what? Aretus. Unspeakable. Right? Night. Wait a minute. What? They're oracles about the Wanax Bacchus. Right? And they're the oracles of night. And you say, what does that mean? Remember what the number added up to? It added up the Sibylline number. It added up to pseudonyx. Gnostic informant was ecstatic over that one. Loved it, right? Why are they talking about Nyx? Because Black Night is our Uranian deity Medusa. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? Think of that Aphrodite. Think of that Aphrodite. Isn't that nice? Right? Memory. Give me to know Aphrodite. Oh, God, love this. Love this stuff, right? Now you're in the mystery. And why do I say Aphrodite? Brother, come here. You don't see that this is all going to Aphrodite? The people in the Arabian Peninsula did. They told us, oh my God, what are they? Oh, where are we going? We're going to Aphrodite because that's who we worship, Bacchus and Aphrodite, Dionysus and Aphrodite. That's the foundation of civilization. The Bacchic Empire is what brought civilization, and it did so through the oracles. Isn't that gorgeous? We're in third time. 2 years of Apollo, 1 year of Bacchus, and in that 1 year, that's the third year of purging. Oh, 3.5 and 3.5. Love it. It's gorgeous. Let's do the next one. Sneak this one in. Look, people, this has got some heavy gun stuff in it, okay? Bring in the Nephilim. We're the Nephilim. Come here, Nephilim. You. I don't care. I don't care how big you think you are. Come here. Right on the booty. Why? What am I going to sing about if I am Orpheus? This is what it's saying, right? Orpheus says, I'm going to sing of you of the offspring of Brimo, right? Those who did these terrible works, who were born from earth. What did they do? Are you ready? What did they do? They dropped down their semen from Uranus on you. Oh, God. They dropped down their semen. That's what it says. It's not just any kind of semen either. It's lugron. What is lugron? That's like ill-fated. It's like dark. Ooh. What's it? Mourning. It makes me want to mourn. Wait a minute. What? Did we get to the party and we're finally here and the stuff is finally kicking in? No. Right? It's about to, though. And the way it's going to kick in is I'm going to introduce you to the Nephilim, these Gegeneon, these earthborn ones who are sending down the semen op Uranu, right? And they were an earlier generation. They were an earlier set of people. Let's go see what they did. So this is exciting. This is like the Bronze Age telling us, look, there are these older people, right? Who are they? Well, in order to find them, to find out who they are, Nephilim, right? Everybody on there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views on garbage about the Nephilim. Garbage. Anunnaki, garbage. Garbage. You want to see? I'm going to show you right now with the text exactly how garbage it is. And I'm going to pull some Hebrew in. Ready? Are you ready? Give it to me. That's just for Dan and Kip, right? Okay, I want you to see that these are the earthborn, right? These are the children of Gaia, or the giants. The giants. Oh, go. Who are the giants? Gigas is a Greek word. Gigas is a Greek word. Who are we summoning? Oh, who is this? It's the Book of Enoch. Probably 1st century BC. Oh, who is it? I don't know. Who cares? Right? The fact is, this document, this Hellenistic document, it reads as if it was a contemporary with the Septuagint. Right? Although I'm not sure it's that old. It may be later, like 1st century, but whatever. Okay, Kai Elabon. I'm going to read this to you, people. Are you ready? Now, this is the Book of Enoch, and people say, why is that not in Hebrew? Because it's not. It never existed in Hebrew. Here's what it existed in. Here's the Giza fragment that we have of it, probably from some library that the Christians burned down. Who knows? And Kai Elabon. Okay, so they took wives. It took, each person, each of these people that we're going to talk about, what did they do? They took wives, whoever they wanted to, and they entered into these unions with their wives. And what did they do? They soiled themselves. Wait, what? They soiled themselves. They died. They stained themselves. Okay. Sounds like something funny is going on, but let's see. They dyed themselves. And what else? And they taught their wives how to do what? How to make drugs, how to collect roots, how to identify specific plants. And they stained themselves. Who are we talking about? Talking about a group of people with a technical knowledge that's obviously superior to the groups of people that they're infiltrating or that they're immigrating to be among. And this is not uncommon. You get it in Italy too, right? Medea steps off the boat in Italy and notices somebody's been bitten by a certain type of snake, and she has a remedy and cures the guy. And they're like, huh? Holy crap, we'll build you a temple. Right? Because they've been plagued by that snake for years. And you know what? They didn't develop it. And they were, speaking Martian, or, not from Mars, but Oscan or Umbrian. Who knows? One of the, maybe Latin, a bunch of hut dwellers. You know what I mean? Just backwards. So when you come in with that new technology, are you an alien? Now, for everybody who wants to think that's an alien, have at it. Enjoy. Somebody from space. Yeah, no, that's not what the evidence points to. The evidence points to, here are groups of people who are technologically advanced. And as a matter of fact, that's exactly what it says. They become famous through their tech. And what is their tech? Enoch tells us their tech is drugs. Anunnaki are not aliens. They're drug runners. Oh, God. They're people with a superior knowledge, dude. That's all. Go to the next text. Let's see these guys. Where do they show up? And it's because it's through the, notice it's through the ladies. It's through the ladies. I'm going to show you some things that are, you think, is this a man's art? You'd think. What kind of art is this? And why is the text differentiating? Watch what happens. It'll show us, it'll arc to the original Christ. It's gorgeous because what we're doing is we're tracing the knowledge, the pharmaceutical knowledge. Just follow the pharmaceutical knowledge and see where it ends up. That's all we're doing. Wonderful. Isn't that gorgeous, Circe? Pull up the Bible. Pull up the Bible now. That's what we need. Look at verse number 4. This is from Genesis chapter 6. Hoi de gigantes. Do you hear the word giant? Hoi de gigantes, Asa. There were giants there in the earth in those days, right? And after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they knew them in a very, very intimate, lovey, stinky way. And what happens? There were giants, right? They're giving birth to these generations that are bathed in the tech that they have got. They're burning off mortality. And do you know what happens? You change stature itself. These are hormone analogs, right? And what are they doing? What are the giants doing? Well, how does it describe them on the last line? They're apionos. Apionos. Wait, what? Okay, they're from the ion. Hang on to that thought. And then the very last thing he says is hoi anthropoi, hoi onomastoi. These are people who were very famous, known for that knowledge. They were big people. Yeah, these people were important. Gigas. They're all, wait a minute, they're the gigas. They're from that stage of the Medusa. Do you understand? They're using the very same serpents. It's tech. And they're spreading the cult tech. Give me the next one. Are they from outer space? What? Why do people always jump? Right? People, be scientific. You got it. Let's look at the translation of this. In those days, and for some time after, giant Nephilites. What? That text didn't say Nephilites. It's because everybody has bought the lie that the Hebrew text comes before the Septuagint. Right? Remember, the Masoretic text is from the 10th century, Anno Domini. Right? That's when that thing shows up. That's not real. That's a creation. What does the old text say? It says what I just showed you in Greek about giants. So the use of the word Nephilites is only coming through a rabbinic tradition, right? And because Christianity needs that rabbinic tradition to prop itself up on, it can't contradict that. So it's a very, very sticky problem for theologians, for Bible students, for Christians who just are practicing their Christianity, people who are born again and have seen the forgiving blood of Jesus Christ. It's for those people. Oh, love this. Whenever the sons of God had intercourse, seriously, that's not very elegant. They're heroes. It doesn't say that, but famous warriors. They're a little bit elaborating there. It doesn't say anything about being warriors. But okay, fantastic. Let's go to the next one. Now you know why translation sucks so bad, right? Watch this, people. What is the Nephilim? Look how they define it now, right? So now this lying translation based upon a lying tradition is telling you that this is coming from this word. And how do they define this word? With the Greek word giant. Do you know what Nephilim is? It's a made-up term that was a forced term in order to translate the word giant. It doesn't exist. It is a fabrication. What is a Nephilim? What are the Nephilim? Nothing. They're nothing in history. Yeah. Historia. That's the inquiry, right? When you know yourself. Did you know your religion was a fabrication? Right? Welcome to the school of monism. That's what they do. They did it in Egypt too, and they ended up getting Akhenaten with this terrible art with these big pregnant bellies on, people. I don't know. It wasn't pregnant women. It was on pregnant men. They looked pregnant anyway. It's the style. You gotta. You gotta. Anyway, everybody's like, boo. And they got rid of it, right? So, okay, give me the text. Watch what, look what, now what is the root? Napho, what does it mean? To fall. To fall. So they're like, how can we represent? Because we don't actually know, right? We know that these are famous people, right? What do we have to do? We have to turn them into something they're not. We're making those fallen. Call them the fallen, right? No. What are you doing in the 3rd century with your Torah? What are you doing? You're creating something to justify your past. You're mimicking what the Greeks are doing with their texts. You're doing the same thing. That's why you call Adam, because it's a well-known name within the rite, right? It's all about that rite. That mystery is everything. That's the predominant religious engine. When the Torah or the Septuagint, the Pentateuch, whatever you want to call, Pentateuch and the prophets, whatever you want to call them, that's when that's being written. The mystery is everything. This is a telesterion that Moses builds. Oh, God. You mean Moses builds a Greek invention for telling the future by hearing the voice of God? Yes. Isn't that great? Love it, man. Hail Satan. It's Saturnian power. Saturnian power, baby. Now listen, you won't understand it if you're sitting there and you haven't been killed and revived. If you haven't been killed and revived. And I'm not talking about just any killing and reviving. I'm talking about the one that puts your brain in a state where you're able to correctly identify the images that you're interacting with. What? Yeah, no, it's a mystery thing, right? If you're trained, we can train you to do this. Okay, let's get to it, right? If you're not woken up, then and let's admit none of us are. None of you are. You know what's funny? All the hippies and the people talking about psycho death or ego death and all that bull crappery. Yeah. Do you realize that you don't even know what you're doing? That there's a way to do this in a polypharmaceutical approach that involves your death and your entry into a specific state that will allow you to bring back from the other side real quanta, real information packets. Yeah. Congratulations. Getting stoned on something and wandering around in a cabbage patch is going to do absolutely nothing. And the Greeks who invented this, the woman who started this Christing, she would tell you first off, what are you doing? Right? You don't know what you're doing. It's what Bacchus says. You don't know what you're doing. It's the awakening that you need. That's what the Renaissance always brings, and that's what these texts will bring. Are you ready? Oh, let's see that for a minute. Who's that? Oh, I don't know what's going on. That's fantastic, though. Bring that. It's staining my brain. Let's go. We gotta finish these. Here's your word for giant, people. Here's where it's originally from. Let's get the next one. The tribe of giants it talks about. That's beautiful. I want to give you what is this? The strong or the mighty? Is that how we're starting to get this? Okay, give me the next one. I don't even know what the point of that was. It's like taking a third grader's copy of something. Today, people, I just want to tell you, today I had a lot of downtime because of internet issues. And by the way, people, I don't need a better camera. Thanks for recommending that all the time. I really appreciate it. It's my internet. I get 8 gigabytes per second, right? 8. I said 8, right? Megabytes. Sorry, wrong realm. Chewy corrected me. I'm way smaller. Way smaller. Did I say gigabytes? Because the giants that I was talking about. Okay, here's the ion, the eternity. Look, it's opposite to Chronos, time. Time. It is not eternity. It is that which is opposite to time. Okay, are you ready? Well, I'm going to take you to the ion, and we're doing this for a good reason. Boom, hit me with the next one. Psyche tekai ion. Think of the soul and ion as being both parts, 2 parts of one duality that is existence. Okay. If you take those 2 concepts and say, oh, they got married, and that's us. Go to the next one. Here's your ion, right? And the Christians will say, oh, God, this is eternal. No, I want you to see. I want you to see the look at the first line under A, and it talks about Poseidon returned by Arons. And then at the end, it says in parentheses, properly. And then it gives you the digamma in the middle of the word, I won. So again, this is a Bronze Age concept. This is so far before Christianity and Judaism that it's an unfamiliar Saturnian or satanic world. Yeah, and who is the ion? He's the dude when you go into a Jewish synagogue in the 2nd century or 1st century, and you walk in and you see him on the wall with Greek surrounding him and a zodiac. You'll know where your Jewish roots are. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people who are suddenly like, oh, that kind of makes sense. I've always been looking at that zodiac thing. Yeah, congratulations. Welcome home. Welcome home. Your God is called Ion. Fantastic. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's Orphic, people. Right? It's Orphic. Fantastic. Go to the next one. Okay, now here's what I'm going to give you. And this one is for Dan McClellan, because this is Pindar. And I know for a fact, because Pindar, people, is really, really difficult. Pindar, there are some classes somewhere, I'm sure, who are like, nah, I can do Pindar, no problem. Pindar's no problem. But most classes, if they're honest with themselves, know that Pindar is of the more difficult persuasion. He uses a lot of Dorian, and it's just, I don't know. Dorian is it's disruptive. I think the Athenians were right. They had reached that apex of the language. They were able to draw where you can draw out of the ether. And I don't think the Dorian was doing them any favors or pushing them up. You know what I mean? The Ionians, you could ask the Ionians too. They would have been like, yep, that's Dorian. And that's why the Spartans are the way they are, bro. Look, I studied with a guy from the area where Sparta is. And no offense to any modern Laconians, but Lacedaemonians, I love you, baby, but you just didn't. Your ancestors kind of dropped the ball, and the Athenians were like, you suck, right? So, yay, Athens. Anyway, this is Pindar, and Pindar writes in his 4th Pythian ode. You hear Pytho there, right? Python. Right? Okay. In his 4th Pythian, he writes about the great prophecy of the Medea. And in it, he says, what does he say? He says, Hera, listen to this, what happened here. I'm just going to translate this for you. Hera, right, caused a very sweet desire to enter in to those young men who were half God. Yeah. And these are heroes. These are heroes. And what did or at least they're going out to try to show that they're heroes, right? It's a thing you do. It's a thing you do. You go out and you do great things, right? And it tests you. How old are you, kid? Get out there. Do something great, you bonehead. Right? That's the way of life. And what's happening? What's happening? Oh God, she didn't want, these are all the people on the ship, the Argo, right? And she didn't want anybody. This is what she's putting in their mind. It's a fear. And I'm going to put in your mind the fear that you're going to stay home with mama, that you're going to stay home with mama and do nothing, right? In a world that doesn't give you any danger, you're just going to end up dragging out the ion. Al epic I pharmakon kaliston. And you know what else you're going to be? Al epic I thanatoi. And you're not even going to be able to find that best of drugs, the one that helps you when you are in death. Yeah. And you won't bring out your virtue. You're not going to. That's what they're afraid of. Hera is making them afraid they won't be able to live up to that mystery, to be able to find that pharmacon. You see that last word on the bottom, left-hand side, last line, pharmakon. That's what they're looking for, right? You want to have that. Where do all these knuckleheads end up? They end up with Medea. And what is she doing? She's providing with the pharmacon. She takes it. Where does she take it out of? I've told you time after time. She takes it from her vagina. This is the first communion. And I'll show you in the Greek how it is the first communion. It is from her life fluid that all of us talk about salvation. Yeah. Some of you talk about it through the avenue of a dude who got arrested in a public park with a naked kid screaming, I am not a child trafficker. That's how some of you got it. Yeah, fantastic. Salvation. The gospel, right, baby? She's the origin of the good news. You know what the good news is? It's a prescription. It's the power of a prescription to bring you health. You didn't even know that. Why do you think he's the great physician, bonehead? Right? Come on, Christians, get up off the ground. Get up off the ground. Oh, know your own things. You don't even know your own Bible. It's disgusting. I'll tell you, when I taught seminarians, I told them on the first day of class, you do not know the Bible. You do not ever read it. You've never read it before. And by the end of the third semester, they were all telling me, oh, I understand what that means now. Yeah, exactly. That's the power of this language. Until you get there, don't say that you know this stuff. Right? Bring up Pindar. What else? What else should she do? So she put in the head of these young heroes who are going off to they're going to abduct, they're going to take a fleece with a song in it that is part of the mystery. It's the directions for the communion. It is the life, right? It's why it has a dragon posted there to guard it. The dragon, just like the Medusa, is a position, right, within Bronze Age society, right? It's not a dragon. Oh, it's not. Where is Tolkien? If Tolkien was here, what would I do? I would make eunuch for the kingdom of heaven. That's what I would do. Here's what we go. They don't want to be left behind, right? In some undanger. They want to find that drug. Give me the next one. Look at this. This is John 3:16. What is it that Jesus is offering? Remember in Mark, he offers you drugs that induce death, right? And snakes, and vulnerability to snakes. Awesome. Which goes along with the formula. I mean, that's the whole deal. That's what boy is doing, right? The boy is providing an immunity, basically, for the poison that is the thanasimon. Okay. John 3:16. Here he is, right? Oh, God. God so loved the world, the cosmos. The cosmos is the present functioning, or it's the lines. It's difficult to describe. The cosmos is that which beautifies, most essentially. And when I say beautify, I mean to make healthy. You know what a woman's cosmos is? Literally, in antiquity, it's chest that she possesses that contains all of her drugs, cosmetics, and anything for personal hygiene. Yeah. It's her salvation, right? Those elements are her salvation. And what does it do? It brings her to a place of health. And now, if nobody's figured out the sacred name of Aphrodite, the name of Rome, then something is wrong. I am not doing something right. But I'm confident. I'm confident you will come to the place of health and salvation. I'm confident. Fantastic. That's where we are. Give me the next source, quick, before it wears off. No, he loved the world so much. He did what? He gave his son. He gave his only born son in order that everyone who believes in him, right, may not perish, but have Zoan Ionian. And that's why we brought in the ion, right? Because that's what we're looking for. Give me the next one. And I just want to make sure that you understand this ion, right, is defined here in Greek. Now, they're going to give you period of existence. This is what the Greek says, the Greek definition, totelos. It's the completion that bounds the time of each person's life. That's called the ion. It's the completion. And that's why a talit is somebody who has been initiated in the mystery, because they have been able to see the completion of their life. When you enter into death, you become one who is now outside of time in ion. Don't ask me what the physics are. I don't understand it. But this is what they're doing. And if you haven't been there, you don't have ionic life. Cicero's walking around very happy. Oh, God, I'm so glad I went to the mysteries. I wasn't alive before I went. I didn't see the world. Why was he able to do that? Because they resurrected the queen of the underworld. Right? How do you think you're going to see the completion of your life without seeing her? Oh, you say, I'm a misogynist. I don't have female divinities. Guess what? Guess what? That's why you got to love the devil, man, because this is his place and you're here being tortured for a reason. Isn't that gorgeous? You know, somebody once told me, a Jungian psychoanalyst slash therapist slash all around good person told me, oh my, you're so handsome. Thank you. I know. This Jungian told me, he said, look, the one thing that they used to crack Nazis after World War II was mother. If you make them, he said, you can open up a Nazi with any kind of psychology and they have defenses. They will not resist until you approach them with the mother. And for some reason, the mother breaks them down. Isn't that gorgeous? You know what the enemy of fascism is? A mother. I guess it's because a mother wouldn't, a mother wouldn't do what a fascist would do, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's some kind of people. I'm telling you, I'm just a person of average intelligence. I don't get the physics of all this stuff. But there's something there about the mother that breaks down that Nazi tendency. Yeah, that gets inside. You can really pierce somebody's conscience through a mother. Love that. What would your mother say? You jerk, right? I guess that's the idea, right? Right? I wonder if could you smack Hitler in the face and say, what do you think all the mothers of the world think about you and your stupid mustache? Right? Something like that. I don't know. I'm sure the Jungians didn't do that. Jung had a chance to declare Hitler insane, and he didn't do it. Can you imagine how that would have changed history? Oh, it's too bad Jung didn't have the nads. Let's go, little goofy. I'm glad he gets. Come here, Jung. Come here. Oh, you're so disgusting with your little wimpy response. You let them Nazis take us over. Stupid Jung. Here we go. State of completion or maturity. Right. That's a secondary definition. I just wanted to bring that in. Have you been to the Ion? It's because you haven't been born again, brother. And what's happening here? I want to give you this. Look, the Christ, the original Christ, of course, is Medea, right? The original Christ. And what is Pindar doing? He's saying, look, in the 17th generation, from Thera, as Medea gave her prophecy, it's going to be fulfilled, right? And this is or it was fulfilled, excuse me. And who is Medea? She is that daughter, that Zamenes, daughter of Aeetes, who is himself a child of God. The sons of God came into the daughters of men. Do you know who she is? She is the child. She is the giant. The sons of God came in the daughters of men. Who did they give birth to? Well, first they taught them all about drugs, and then they gave birth to giants. Oh, Medea. Medea is a giant right from the earth. Oh, God. The first Christ. Isn't this gorgeous? What is she going to do? She's going to make it so that you can be born again, so that you can be awake. You can thank her later. You can thank her later. All of Christianity, all of Judaism goes back to this woman. This is Pindar. Thank you, Pindar. And what does Pindar say? She's Zamenes. She's that child of Aeetes. And what is her mouth? Her mouth is divine. That's what it says there. From her mouth divine, she breathes out. She is the Despoina Colchon. She is that queen, that Bronze Age queen who has total power, right? Makes us afraid. You know, the dragon, they say, is only afraid of one, and that's Medea. Isn't that gorgeous? Dragon's only afraid of her. Right? Now, what did Jason do? Jason was like, yeah, I'm a rich Greek guy, and I had a pederastic relationship with Chiron, and I know all the arts magic. And by the way, he uses the sex drugs on some islanders to get him to have sex with him and all his guys. He's a pervert, just like Jesus. But anyway, and he deserved what he got. Yeah, he deserved it. Definitely. Coward. He was a coward, too. History's greatest coward. Okay, go to the next one. What are we doing here? This is Zamenes. What is Medea? She's raging. Notice the raging word of violence. What's a Zamenes? Logos. It's a word of violence. I have a word of prophecy. Oh yeah, I got a word of violence for you. Are you ready? This is who she is. Zamenes. She rages. She rages. Now you know why Odysseus was afraid her sister was going to cut off his testicles, right? Well, sometimes she's called her sister. Sometimes it's her aunt, right? But whatever, right? Yeah, love it. Fantastic. Let's go to the next one. Oh, where are we? We're with her. And what happens? Boom. I wanted you to see. So what we're with the Medea, right? And we're in that Christing experience so that we can see the ion, so that our eyes are opened and we can have that ion. And what is that ion? Remember, this is the thing in the Jewish synagogue. This is what they worship, right? This is what Jewish people worship before they worship Yahoo, right? Yahoo is derived from ion. And what is the ion? This is an ancient Greek. This is from Hesychius, a definition of what it is. It's the bios ton anthropon. It's the life of humanity. It's the life of humanity. The Hippocratics, he says, took this, and he quotes them. The Hippocratics took this and turned it into what is existing within your spinal column. It's that which gives you life. It's that which innervates you, the neura or where we get our word nerve, is what they thought was that life capacity that can be channeled through the body, right? This is that, oh God, this is that most powerful. And they say that you can't live without this, right? So wait a minute, you said, I thought ion just means eternal. Do you see how stupid Bible scholars are? Do you see how stupid they are? Let's go back to the next one, Chewy. I can't deal with any stupid Bible scholars anymore. They're laughable. They're laughably bad. Yeah. Okay. So we're back to the Bible. Yeah. I wanted you to see how bad this translation was. It's just verse 3 of Hosea 13. I think it is 13:3. I'm pretty sure 13:3. And he says, on account of this, they will be what? They will be as clouds. As clouds, yeah. And as what? As drossos or thrine for elmene. Right. What is that? That's the stuff that is the kind of the drosos is really it's related to the word hydros. It's coming from the same root that hydros is, and hydros is what comes out of your lover's armpits when you're actively engaged in coitus. Sweat, aka sweat. And the sweat that is on those plants in the morning that kind of evaporates in the air, we call that dew, the glistening dew. People produce glistening dew too. They do. Fantastic. So that's how they're looking at it, right? Look at how they're looking at it. Don't look at it like some modern. That's the problem with scholarship. It's all from modern brains. John Scarborough told me that first day of graduate school. He said, shut up and listen to me. Number one, you only pay attention to the sources. He said, put down every secondary book you've got. Anybody writing about it from the modern world, put it down. It's useless. Yeah, I love it. I love it. That was good instruction. I owe him for that. Go to the next one. That one. And what happens? He says, look. So the translation says, look, these people, they're going to be like these clouds. They evaporate. They're going to be like this drosos, this dew that evaporates, right? And they're going to be like the hnus. That's the dust that you sweep off of the circular threshing floor. Yeah. And they're like that. They're vapid. They're just flown away. And then finally he says, hos atmos. These people are going to be like the fog or the fumigation apodakruon. Now, dakruon literally means tears. Tears. Okay, you ready? But I know that those tears are medical little lozenges, pills, right? They talk about the tears of opium, for example, the stuff that drips off the opium capsule when you scarify it, when you make a cut in it and it bleeds out this milky white solution that has all of the goody good num in it, and that little thing is called a tear. Anyway, you can make tears as drugs. And he says here, the fumigation from the drugs, that's what you're going to be like, right? You're just going to be off you go and smoke, right? That's all. Off you go. Now, how did the Hebrew translate this, right? Because remember, this is not Greek translating Hebrew. If it was, I'm going to have to see the word tears in Hebrew, but you don't. Read this translation of it. And this translation is using the Hebrew, just like the King James. Therefore, they will be like the morning mist. Okay, that's okay. Like the early dew that disappears. Nice. Like the chaff swirling from a threshing floor. So far, so good, Hebrew. Nice job. Like smoke escaping through a window. What? There's no window there. And it's really not smoke. It's really a vapor from a fumigation. Oh, God, these people are terrible. What's the Hebrew actually say? Look at the word that the Hebrew uses. Yeah. Ashan, smoke, straight up, of course. Very simple, smoke. Okay, you can see how we're downgrading to the third grade. We're not talking about the mist produced by specific drugs, but we're talking about the, smoke. I mean, that could be, what? The stuff coming out from between your ears, right? what's the next one? And what do they do with that? By the way, is how they represent Atmos, right? Now, notice see, it says mist, vapor, steam, right? Okay, go down. What's the next one? What's the Hebrew get? No, up one. What's the Hebrew get for the next? Oh, no, you're right. Go down. What's the next word? The dakron, the tears, right? I want you to see what these tears are. Literally, it's tears. But look, number 2, that which drops like tears. That's what I was talking about. Gum or sap, right? Or the drugs that they're using, right? This when they say sap, and what are they talking about? Medicinals. In the collection, they talk about, Galen talks about the tears all the time. Love it. Tears of the poppy, baby. Give me tears of the poppy. Doesn't it sound nice? Let's go to the next one. That which drops like tears, gum or sap. There it is. What's the first example they give us for that? Acanthes. Do you know what acanthes is? Neil will get all excited because acanthes is that acacia that he's always talking about. Yeah. There you go. You can get some kind of tears from it. What are these tears being translated to in Hebrew? I am not kidding here, people. This is Aruba, and I'm not talking about Jamaica or any of the nice places to visit. I'm not talking about St. John or any of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about Aruba, the word for lattice or window or sluice. A lattice or a window. How did you people turn drugs into windows? It's because if you were to talk to a 3rd grader and read to him the Iliad, he would write out a very, very dumbed down version of that because his linguistic skill was a cap. And that's what we have when we're talking about 8,000 unique words in Hebrew. We're talking about a cap. So when I say, look, there's tech here involved, the Hebrew can't capture the tech. The Septuagint is not a translation of any Hebrew. There is no Hebrew that exists. Hebrew is a liturgical language with just a few words left. Okay. Was Jesus speaking Hebrew? Of course he wasn't. Give me the next one. We're almost done. I'm sorry to take so long, people. This is Hesychius Magewen. What does it mean, that word, that root magic? Look, it means to goetewen. It means to charm or transfix or to fascinate someone. When someone tells me that's fascinating, I know the magic is working. What is a fascinum? It's a phallus. What do you do when you magewen? You therapewen theus. You serve the gods. And you hear the word in English, therapy. We're stealing it from this. What do you do when you serve the gods? You perform therapy. Isn't that nice? Therapy. Love it. Love it. Next one. Just a couple of words here for us to end off to get the sensation of where Medea is operating, because she's the original Maga, right? Right? She's the original Maga that every witch harkens back to. That's Medea. Fantastic. What is the Magana? Magana are pharmaca. Oh, they're goetemata. They're things that are meant to charm you. And what are those things? They are pharmaca. They are drugs. Those magi that came to Jesus looking for the star, guess what? Let's just take a look at them. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. You know what? Go all the way down. I want to go all the way down to that one. Here we go. We're going to finish up with this. Are you ready, people? What is this? It's a dream. It's a dream that Medea's father had. And this is, again, from the Orphic Argonautica. It's a dream that he had. And what does it say? What does it say? It says the very girl that he was nurturing, that taking care of, that he was growing, that girl, he saw a star. And what did that star do? On the line before the break, you'll see, kolpoisin in himertoisi. Himer is that root for desire, lust, that thing that drives you towards eros, right? Himeros is always accompanying Aphrodite. What does that mean? It means desire. Hemeros, desire. Do you have that desire to cause that activity to perpetuate? That's hemeros. And what is hemeros? What is desirable? It is her kolpos. And you will say to me, this will always be translated as fold of her garment or lap, possibly bosom. Possibly bosom. It is, let's show them. Here we go. It is what? The one after it? Yep. Look at this, people. Bosom or lap. Thank you, Victorian England. Very nice. Very nice. Look at number 2. It equals idoion gunaikeon. That is the vagina. And then it gives Soranus, who is that's a terrible name for a gynecologist, but that's what he is, Dr. Soranus. And he's a gynecologist. And he uses the term kolpos just straight up for vagina. Now watch this. Those of you who have had Greek, right? Those of you who have had Greek, you'll notice that it's in the plural, right? You say, how can it be talking about Medea's vagina where the star is? How can it be talking about that? Because look at the colloquial expression. Look at B. The kolpoites husteras are the sinuses, the sides of what is in the vagina, right? They considered it a plurality. Oh, wow. Okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And that explains why our famous Roman author, Gaius Valerius Flaccus, is telling us that Medea is taking the drug from her vagina when she gives it to Jason to make him Adamas, invulnerable. Do you see the one who created Bacchic worship that leads you to Aphrodite? The first communion, those of you who are going to communion this weekend, the first communion was the porneia, that glistening dew that was the cup of Lady Babylon. It was hers before Jesus is ever causing those children to ingest his seed. Medea is giving her seed for the salvation to your health. I wanted to say a couple of things really quick before we head out tonight. I wanted to say a couple of things. I wanted to again thank everybody who was involved in the transcripts, who is involved in pushing the Greek course, people who are getting places where people can access the book and all that kind of stuff like that. I want to thank people for doing that. I want to thank the graduate dojo that went through that's going through the process of getting into reading groups and all that kind of thing. I want to thank them for hanging in there during this time. And I'm very honored to be able to be a part of opening up that universe for us to give us those sources, to protect those sources. And people are learning the Greek. On Wednesday night, we'll have another Amen U, and everybody should have read Unit 1 and should have attempted to perform the first 5 exercises, which we will go through. If you have done that, you will ace the instruction. Excellent. We'll go over vocabulary. We'll do everything. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And that is so important that we are actually using the tool, because this will bring us Renaissance. And they can't blind us. They can't give us fake history. They can't give us false interpretations if we can access the primary sources. It gets my goat that people don't give the primary sources more honor. Yeah. Thank you, Penelope, for coming tonight. Say hi to everybody. Thank you for coming, everybody in the 822. Thank you for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Please reflect upon what is behind the cross. Please reflect on it. this purification. We need to get to the bottom of it. We need to see what these, what our actual past is. I was sitting with Chewy, and the reality just started to set in. Imagine living in a universe where everybody worshipped a dude who was arrested in a public park with a naked kid. And what kind of universe would that generate? It's like a strange question. What do I do? What do I do with the foot washing? What do I do with the touching of the children? What do I do with the getting arrested with a naked kid? What do I do with it? How am I going to reconcile who Jesus is in the text and who I believe he is? It's a difficulty. It's a really difficulty. How am I going to come to grips with the fact that Moses is a creation of the 3rd century of a branch of a satanic cult that was perpetuating an oracular tradition? How do I come to, I don't know. Maybe it's too soon for the monists to find out that they are all descendants of the devil. Thank you for coming tonight. Hail Satan.
Something in the wind, lightning hits you near, fried to little bits. Here's Satan in the chorus. Try some, you'll want more. Knock, knock, I'm at the door. GG Pennywise, put the twinkle in your eyes. Jesus on the cross, from harming little ones. Don't mess with the kids, Medea, she will come. Witch queen of the dragons, Medea, Mamma Mia. Dreams come true, my dear, she'll knock you on the rear. Put something in your beer, hot purple, they eat fetus. Bleed out skin, go deeper, jeepers to the creepers. Smoking sensimilla, ancient Greek we read her. Venom from the teeth of bloody Uzi Seeper. Grim to the reaper, lavender Medea. Indica Hania, hit you on the beeper. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Drake and venom drip, fang gripping her lip. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Drake and venom drip, fang gripping her lip. Michael's poisonous, hit you with a kiss. Drake and venom drip, fang gripping her lip.